It doesn't work,
Doesn't work.
and I'm not throwing you a curveball. I left it down here on Monday, and somebody pulled out the connection dongle, and so I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. I'll just awkwardly stand it. Are you ready? All right. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Hillman. I'm representing Team Purple, my team members up here in the front. We just wanted to start off with saying how honored we are to be working with such an incredible organization, and thank you for having us here today. We're going to real quickly just go through a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to look at some historical data, and then we're just going to look at some techniques to help you guys kind of improve your recruitment speeches. So we want to start by looking at this chart right here. If you notice, this chart breaks down voter registration and voter turnout amongst men and women in the 4 major races in America. Excuse me, 5 major races. As you can see, women turnout to vote and women registration is up compared to men. I think this has a lot to do, thanks to your organization. This is something to be very proud of. However, if you can notice, in every single race category, men voter registration and voter turnout is lower than women. So this gives you guys an excellent opportunity to kind of reach out to those men and kind of diversify your audience. So we're going to talk about how we can do that. To start, we have some research by Tannen. She's a linguistics professor, and she's been studying linguistics for years and years and years. She points out that the way men and women talk have to do with how they are raised. As you know, men and women are raised differently. Men tend to be raised in groups where they're competitive. Women tend to try and get along with a lot of other people. So there is that kind of difference that you want to be able to cater to when you're trying to recruit more people to join your organization. So for example, men tend to seek control. They want to have the one-up position. They want to, they tend to avoid asking questions because they feel like it makes them look like they don't know what they're talking about. So some steps that we have here is we suggest that you guys give men that power, give them that responsibility of helping your guys' organization. We suggest that you allow them to be gatekeepers within their own group so that they have the information, they are empowered to go out and spread it with other men, and other people really give them that position of authority, that position of power within their own little groups. Also, we suggest that you give men credit for, if they help you guys with something significant, maybe mention their name here and there. That really allows them to feel like they've contributed significantly, really allows them to be more interested in continuing to help out your guys' organization. We also suggest that when you're presenting to men, maybe ask them the questions. Don't wait for them to ask you questions. We want to give you that ability, like we said before, men tend to try and avoid asking questions. They think it makes them look dumb. So why not ask them a few questions? Allow them to interact a little bit. We also wanted to talk real quickly about how to become an authentic speaker. The first step in this is being open with your audience. You want to invite people into your story. Invite them to share your story with you. Invite them to share the experience. The next step is connecting with your audience. Again, draw them in. Show them why what you are sharing with them really matters and why they should be a part of it. You want to be passionate about the topic. Obviously, as we've discussed already, there's a lot that you guys at the League of Women Voters have to be proud of. Share that pride, share that passion whenever you're talking. I've seen a lot of your guys' speeches. You guys do a great job. Keep it up. And then, of course, you want to listen to your audience. You could tell kind of when an audience is not interested, they're kind of bored. So we have some tips for you with this. This has a lot to do with body language. Actually, humans recognize body language before they listen to verbal words. So that's the very first thing your audience is going to be noticing. So we have some suggestions. Eye contact is key. If you're looking over there at the corner of the room or there, they're like, who are you even talking to? Use hand gestures. Move around. Be excited. All of these steps kind of allow you to connect with your audience more, get that message out there, and really recruit the men and the men and women you want in your organization. And we just wanted to end with a little snippet from your guys' diversity statement, as you're very familiar with it. And diversity, equity, and inclusion is key to the organization's current and future success. We believe that if you follow these simple steps, you will greatly increase your diversity within your organizations. Thank you for having us here today.
answer any questions you may have.
As a matter of fact, we do have one. Thank you. As assigned, you guys did what you were supposed to do. You did a good job. Focused how to increase diversity within the League of Women Voters. So you guys got your job done right. I'm impressed. You were one of 2 teams that found that quote on diversity. Well done. I was curious to see how many people would ferret that one out. Because people go on diversity, you don't have to teach them about diversity, but yet it is key for the organization as one of its goals. Very well done. It's impressive. Okay, here's my question. On March 03 this year, a couple of days ago, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the For the People Act, H.R. 1. Chris Carson, the president of the National Board of our League of Women Voters, said, "This landmark legislation is the biggest improvement to our democracy since the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Virginia Case, the CEO of the League of Women Voters, said, "The League works tirelessly to make sure that every eligible voter has their voice heard in every election." And she added that a healthy democracy is one in which everyone has their voice heard. How do you think we, as an organization, can use the ideas you talked about to successfully increase the participation of the diverse population of potential voters that exist in America today, given that only 40% of Americans voted in the last election?
Sure. Well, I would say 40% of the people that voted in the last election, you hear so many people whining and complaining about the last election, and they didn't even vote in the election. So it's really about getting those voters to turn out, right? You have these people that, oh, I don't like the results of the election, but I didn't do anything about it. So I think just to begin with, you have a lot more people interested now in voting, actually realizing what would happen if they do or do not vote. So it's really piggybacking on those emotions and getting people interested in, hey, if you're not going to do anything, who knows who our next president is going to be. So you really kind of want to target like this as a matter of, here, and you guys have been doing this forever. Here are our rights. We want to protect them. This is why we need to get out and vote. But when it comes down to it, people are going to be lazy. People are not going to want to get out and vote. So there's also a lot of initiatives you can take, such as maybe having a carpool to the voting stations or collecting ballots and dropping them off for people. Just simple little steps like that to encourage people who, are maybe frankly too lazy to get out, to encourage them to participate as well.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Eric said, I completely agree with what he said, but I think that the key to what your organization does and what it's always done and what has been a great success for you is educating the public and educating voters. So if you educate the public and educate them on the significance of voting, then I think you'll have a much higher turnout rate at the elections, and I'm sure you'll find that people that are members of your organization have a much higher than average turnout rate at voting than the general public does, for example.
I agree with what Tony said entirely, and I would also add that creating more polling stations and publicizing that more will help as well. Also including working towards getting more polls in low-income areas, which is an area that is marginalized, that is affected highly by that. And so starting at local elections as well will help to create a larger movement towards actually voting in some of those presidential and congressional elections by starting at local level and encouraging people to actually take that initiative themselves.
And as your organization grows, we believe, obviously, there will be more voter turnout. You guys currently have about 20 million people in your organization, which is impressive. Could you imagine the voter turnout if you had 40 million people in your organization? You guys have done a lot, even just here in the Valley, getting people out there to vote, sharing facts, sharing information about new laws and ballots. So imagine what you would do with double the membership or triple the membership.
Okay, we've got a bit of time. Now, we as an organization are huge fans of Deborah Tannen, which is why we invited you to come and talk with us today. What is it about her sociolinguistic approach, which you guys emphasize so much, that we can use to get out more voters?
I think if you for example, you have to try and advertise voting to different genders differently, for example, not necessarily significantly, but you need to understand that different things appeal to most men than to most women. So if, for example, you appeal to the men that you're giving them a great voice and great responsibility or whatever, I mean, you should appeal that to both sides, obviously, but you could word it differently and so that you can appeal to various groups.
This can be done in other ways, such as creating the likability factors within your organization by creating that sense of oneness. As you mentioned, one of your higher ups on the board is a male, so maybe having him do a few presentations along with some of your women CEOs to show that there is a more inclusive environment in this organization than what some people may assume, even though that is false, if that would make sense.
Okay.
No,